You got your mastectomy at 13.
A secret summer camp for transgender kids and their families.
Side effects were severe, are permanent, and started within days.
Detransitioners are not getting the attention that they deserve. If you're unfamiliar with a detransitioner, this is someone who was trans, who transitioned to another sex, and then they're now transitioning back. And they're saying, nope, that wasn't for me. I was misled, or I don't feel this way, or I regret that I did this to my body. And that's who we're going to talk about today, because more often than not, we're hearing from the LGBTQ community and the trans community, hooray, trans people, yes, support them, support trans youth. They know that they're trans. When the whole time, there is a growing segment of this population that regrets all the medical things that they have done. And that's why I find this so important to talk about and so important to highlight, because we are pushing and we're going down this narrative of, yes, it's okay for trans children to exist. It's okay for children to medically transition. And that's not okay, because one, that's a lifelong decision. And two, there are a growing segment of people who are trying to detransition, and there are things that they have done to their body, whether it be a double mastectomy or changing their voice, that they can never go back to, you know? So in this video, we're gonna be going through just that and more. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
My name is Layla Jane. I'm 18 years old, and I am a woman who has detransitioned. I am actively suing Kaiser Permanente, and I'm suing the doctors that gave me those treatments related to my transition.
I think you're one of the youngest detransitioners other than myself that I know of, and you actually started transitioning a year earlier than I did, and 2 years before I got my mastectomy. You were 12 when you started testosterone blockers, right?
Yeah.
Blockers.
Initially, yeah, they started me on Lupron, and then they put me on testosterone.
You got your mastectomy at 13, just a few years after you started puberty. And that makes me upset personally. How do you feel about that? What's it like dealing with that?
It's very conflicting. But honestly, I'm very upset that it was done to me so young, and also, not to mention, in a headspace where I just shouldn't have been able to make those kind of decisions. You know, I actually had never seen like a diagram of like a breast and like the organ and like the lactation like organs, like the glands and all that, until really recently I saw a diagram. They never showed anything like that to me, and they really watered it down and just called it top surgery, not a radical,
not a double mastectomy.
Double mastectomy, what it was, right?
Flabbergasted. First off, Lupron. Ain't that the drug? We're gonna look this up real quick. Ain't that the drug that they give sex offenders? Lupron, also known as lupulide acetate, is a drug that has been used as chemical castration treatment for sex offenders. Y'all giving sex offender drugs to children who are 12? Not okay. One, to be giving 12-year-olds the same drug that we give to sex offenders. Two, a double mastectomy at what age did they say? Got a double mastectomy at 13. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Top surgery. Make it sound all nice and friendly when actually it's literally a double mastectomy. How are you getting a double mastectomy at 13? That's just not okay. And see, here's the deal. If you did this as an adult, it's like, all right, like that was your decision. You read into it, whatever. But it's the fact that we're allowing children to make this decision. And then people are like, oh my gosh, no, it's not just the children, it's their parents and their doctors. Okay, that's still misleading the children. Like they're a child. Again, they can't smoke, they can't drink. Like there's so many things that they can't do because they cannot consent to something like that.
One group of parents have made the controversial step of organizing a secret summer camp for transgender kids and their families.
Camp is a special place where families from around the country can come together and just be. When Ryan was born male, right? And around 2 years old, we started noticing that Ryan liked, pink and sparkles.
We noticed he like this. Honestly, this is homophobic. Like this is deeply homophobic, and it's misogynistic. It's so many different things, but it's like the legit kind. You notice your little boy likes pink and sparkles, and then you're like, yep, you're not a boy, only girls do that, so you need to transition into a girl. Instead of just telling your kid, one, it's a kid, the kid likes colors, but two, just letting a kid be a kid. Sometimes I feel like I'm the Delulu one. Like I'm the one that's in Delulu land. I'm delusional. I'm like not middle ground. I'm not making sense. But then I really sit back and think, and it's like, actually, I'm okay. These people that I'm reacting to, this is wild. And can we get into the camp? This is literally an indoctrination camp. Like, this is the camp leading minors down the road to, how is this legal? Really? It all just goes back to like the medical side and the surgeries and stuff. Like, children don't need to be doing any of that. Children don't need to be involved in this. Pink and sparkles. Child.
We thought that was sort of strange.
Maxie's parents realized they were dealing with a transgender child at an early age.
It was clear from the get-go that Maxie had an alternative gender identity.
At the start of 2nd grade, this was my precious Connor. This is the before, and here's the after. This is this year. Is Lindsay.
You can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Ah. Lindsay, take the microphone out of your mouth, you funny girl.
Why she almost slip up and said, boy, you funny girl.
To accept the change, Dad Trevor is still struggling with his only son becoming his only daughter.
Both myself and Carrie have felt a sense of loss for Connor.
What did we just... Is this real? Trans youth camp. 13 different camps. Oh. There's so many. 11 to 24. We're living, what is the simulation? What is going on? We're living in a simulation. We got Biden acting a fool, Trump getting shot, trans camps, inflation, almost World War III. Like, this is tiring. It's not even tiring. It's very motivating because it inspires me to speak out, and like, this channel is growing. Some more of us are being vocal against this. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very positive. But it is so disheartening seeing that this is actually a thing. I'm stuck, y'all. How are we gonna... It's only the second video. We dealing with that just pissed me off all over again. We dealing with a little boy who likes sparkles and pink, and they said, yep, you need to chop it off. Chop it off now. Get the knife. No, twig and berry's gone. We thought that was strange. Girl, if you don't let your son just exist as a kid and let him play, oh my gosh. See, and this is the thing. I'm a gay man that feels this way. So it's no wonder these Republicans be like, just up at arms, just throw the whole gay community away. Just chuck it up, throw it away. It's no wonder, because it's things like this that the LGBTQ community at large is backing publicly, at least in mainstream media. And that's why people like me, Clarkson, Ariel, Blair, Brad, so many other gay content creators who do need more free thinking center-right are speaking up against this, because that's crazy.
Interested to hear about your clients and the cases that you are taking. So, for example, how many detransitioners do you guys have right now? What are some of the, I know you can't share details, of course, but what are some of the kind of traits or characteristics of a typical client in your firm?
Our clients are so inspirational. And just the fact that we have them is, of course, a wonderful thing from the standpoint of this is the mission we're on. We're trying to help. People are coming forward. But it's a tragic thing that there are so many who are coming forward, and people we know who have yet to come forward, who have been harmed. And as I tell friends who ask, hey, Josh, I know you started a law firm. How's it going? My response is, sadly, it's going really well. We have spoken with, lots and lots of people. So as I mentioned, about 13 months of existence, we've spoken with approximately 60 individuals.
60 trans people who are trying to sue their providers because they were harmed by them and misled. What's sad about all this, and what's really confusing, is that when you take a step back and look at, and I'll probably elaborate this on another video, but what consent is and what consent means, I feel like we're a little inconsistent. Because we're telling children, you can't consent to doing things with an adult. And I agree with that. There's a lot of people who agree with that. That's the mass consensus, that you can't consent to something like that. Even with this thing in the internet world of like Cody Co allegations, it's like, oh, he was 20 something that messed with a 17-year-old, right? And, you know, that was the R word, and you can't mess with a minor. Okay, we're saying all these things. We're saying that children and minors can't do whatever they want with their body parts, right? That they can't do things with an adult with their body parts. Again, which I agree with. They shouldn't be able to. But at the same time, there's a big subset of that same group of people who think that that's wrong, that are saying, yeah, you can't consent to do what you want with it, but you can chop it off. Or you can get rid of it. You can change it. A lifelong decision. And that's where I kind of get confused. And it's like, that's why, you know, it opens up the door to a lot of other conversations. And it was very uncomfortable when I did that whole Pride interview in Nashville, because there was a couple who thought that minors should be able to do way more than they actually can. But that's what's concerning to me. When I sit back and think about it, okay, we're telling children they can't control what they do with it, but they can't control if they want to chop it off or remove it for life. That doesn't make sense to me. Both are wrong. And when it comes to this medical industry, when it comes to transitioning, I think there is a case to be made for medical malpractice and negligence on the doctor's behalf. Because as we see in these videos, a lot of these trans people are not being informed on the actual harms and dangers of transitioning, especially regarding bottom surgery. So I'm glad that more people are stepping up to the plate and pursuing legal action about this, because these cases can be worth millions of dollars. But unfortunately, more often than not, people just don't file a claim, or they get lowballed by insurance companies. And if you don't want to be lowballed and you are injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For one, everything is free unless you win your case, which that blows my mind in itself. But two, their lawyers don't play. Someone got offered $20K pre-trial, but after Morgan & Morgan, they got $120 million. This person right here got offered $16,000 pre-trial, but Morgan & Morgan said, nah, I need you to add a couple zeros. A lot of us haven't even gone through something like this, but we're all aware that taking on a big company means having a big law firm to stand up for you, and Morgan & Morgan would do that to fight and get you every penny that you deserve. It only takes a few minutes to see if you have a case, and you can do that by going to forthepeople.com/Amir. As you see here, you can receive your free case evaluation on a multitude of case types. And remember, when you hire Morgan & Morgan, you're not just hiring a lawyer. You get a dedicated legal team, case investigators, paralegals, and a customer case specialist, all focused on maximizing your settlement. So if you ever got seriously injured, or you are injured now, your case can be worth millions, and you're only a few clicks away from finding out and changing your life forever. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan by going to forthepeople.com/Amir, which is the link below, or scanning the QR code here on the screen. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
I had no idea even what being transgender was, what a trans person was, until I saw it online and I saw it on TV. And when I was 12, 13 years old, that was when the TLC show wasn't out, but Jazz Jennings was doing interviews. I immediately saw myself in her shoes, and then seeing how the discussion of a girl's brain and a boy body at 12 years old, I don't know why it clicked with me. And that was something that I just felt aligned with, especially because I was always around girls. I liked all the things that the girls were doing.
I mean, hell, I thought I was. When I first realized that I was gay, I was like, oh snap, that means I'm supposed to be a girl because girls like guys. Thankfully, I didn't have like crazy liberal parents, and I didn't feel the need to be like, oh my gosh, I'm a girl. But like, that is a reality for some gay men. They kind of get confused. And again, when you're in that age, that awkward age of like 10 to 15, 16, that's when you're really figuring out who you are, the things you like, and you're going through puberty, so many different changes. And that's not the place to be making drastic lifelong decisions. It's just not.
Girls were doing. And so it just kind of made sense the way it was portrayed to me.
Right.
Yeah. And it really convinced me that that was me.
Jazz has had a very difficult surgical course. She had a very incredible first surgery. It went seemingly very well, but there were problems.
Taking Jazz on as a patient for surgery, we knew it was going to be a one-of-a-kind surgery. She's one of the first to have undergone complete pubertal suppression. I was just not expecting her to have a complication as severe as what she did have.
The stitches started coming apart. How likely do you think that's going to happen again?
It's always possible.
And that's one of the things that kills me the most. Is like, okay, this is the one of kind of surgery. I can't believe we're doing this. We're changing someone's sex like far before puberty. How did you not expect things to happen? Hello? See, I feel like I'm going crazy to think that this is the wrong thing to do, but it's like, no one's being hateful here. You're an adult, transition as an adult, but the fact that this little girl, boy, jazz person is now going through a lifelong medical issues because doctors and parents allowed this to happen when they were a minor. Not cool. Not cool. I'm not a parent. I cannot wait to adopt. It's gonna be glorious. But like, I can't imagine putting my child through something like that because they feel a certain way.
I am a detransitioning woman who began my social transition at 15 years old. I was told that my depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, and borderline would all go away if I transitioned, but it wasn't true. Starting at 17, high doses of testosterone were injected into my anorexic body. The side effects were severe, are permanent, and started within days. The damage from the testosterone is permanent, however, and I will not heal from it like I healed from my eating disorder. I am also suffering from chronic pain. On top of this, I lost my ability to sing. I cannot raise my voice to scream if I'm in danger. Testosterone silenced me. 1 year after starting hormones, my healthy breasts were removed. The surgery was incredibly traumatizing. My breasts have been incinerated, and I will never be able to feed my children.
In Prisha Mosley's case, which was the very first case we filed, received a landmark ruling. And what the judge ruled is Prisha's claims for fraud, facilitating fraud, and civil conspiracy will proceed, and that she does have a legally viable case on those claims. This is the first ever substantive ruling like that in a detransitioner case nationwide.
And I'm glad her case is being heard, but it does make me incredibly sad that one's enough. Like it just blows my mind that if a neighbor is beating their child, I can call CPS on them and the parent will get in trouble. But if that same parent is pushing on and allowing their child to medically transition, it's okay. The math is a mathing. And these are, like the person said, these are permanent things that the person can never change. She will never be able to, like, that's really enough to make someone, you know, delete. Like, damn, I can't breastfeed anymore. I can't scream. I have a manly voice, but I'm a whole woman. Like, that's what I was born as. Like, because of these lifelong permanent decisions that you decided to make and that you were being told and pushed on to solve all, that will solve all your problems. Instead of just being like, hey, every teenager's going through something, suck it up. Listen, I have my stories, I have my marks, we've all gone through something, but if there's one thing that we all can do is come out of it. Will it be easy? No, it's not going to be easy, but it can be done. And to take the lazy route and push on these kids, yes, actually, if you transition, you're going to feel so much better, it's lazy. It's harmful and it's wrong because they're not going to feel better in the long run. It's something that they actually don't want to do. Because again, they're not at the age to consent and make that kind of decision for themselves. That's just the truth of the matter.
For me, transitioning was the closest I could come to myself without actually doing it. With all of these mental struggles that I was having, not knowing how to make sense of it on my own, and consuming so much of the trans narrative,
and just loving life.
Hearing people say this made me so much happier. This alleviated my pain. I wanted to alleviate my pain. I also didn't want to be who I was.
Which, again, like I mentioned before, that's a feeling that a lot of teenagers resonate with.
With transitioning, I could do both of those things. I could alleviate my pain and I can become someone else. I wanted to escape my own identity as Daisy.
My name is Ali Chadra, and this is my voice. One day before testosterone.
That was really the beginning. I wasn't just playing around anymore. I wasn't just playing dress up anymore. Like, I was actually going to become a trans man and live my life that way.
I genuinely am very, como se dice, frustrated that these stories exist. That this feeling of not wanting to be yourself, this feeling of not knowing yourself, this feeling of anxiety and depression and all these emotions is literally a side effect of puberty. But we're ignoring what puberty brings. And we're saying, hey, you can stop your puberty. Or hey, if you don't like this side of puberty, like you're a girl, you don't like bleeding, which I don't know any woman that actually loves their period. You can like stop that. You can become a boy if you want. I don't, it's really hard for me. This is the one thing I will be like very stern on. There is no middle ground when it comes to trans kids. If you want to be a tomboy, tomgirl, sure. But it's the fact that these kids are getting so looped into this idea that being trans will save their lives or literally help them when it's not. It's just a scapegoat. You're not getting to the root cause of the issue, of which for a lot of people, you'll come out stronger that way, confronting things head on. But if you're running from that, I'm not even a licensed therapist. I'm not. But I'm literally wondering, how are these other licensed therapists saying, yeah, kid, if you transition, you'll feel way better? When that's just putting a band-aid on something bigger. You know, when I have a headache, I'm not running to Advil. I'm getting some water. I really sit back and think, wait, why do I have a headache? Not am I going to try to suppress it, but why do I have it? More often than not, I'm dehydrated. I didn't drink a lot of water today. I drink some water, my headache's gone. So you have all these trans kids. I don't like my body. I don't like myself. And the doctor's like, oh, chop it off. We're good. What? Every video I do on this, on this trans topic regarding trans kids, it makes me so emotional because, again, one, we're being dragged, we're as in like the gay community, the LGBTs, we're being dragged through the mud with this because the LGBTQ community includes them and we're supporting this, support trans youth. And I don't want me and my hubs to be walking down the street and us get blamed for supporting this, which is why I make this content. Channel's blowing up, people are subscribing. I'm here for it, I'm grateful. But it's sad that I'm even making this content to begin with. I will be making content forever for sure. I'll always be making content. There's always things for me to talk about. You guys love and hear my opinion and my thoughts, and that's going to be expanding. But the fact that this is something that I'm addressing right now, it is dumb. It's stupid. Like in the other video, I said it's ignorant. It's ignorant.
This huge placebo effect, and when people have these different mental illnesses, like we don't really know a lot of time how to solve them. But the thing is, the power of belief works really well. And yeah, transition. There's like this whole gender euphoria thing with testosterone. It is very euphoric. I think, and this is the tricky thing, and I think that's why we're gathered here, is that we don't really hear the downsides of transition, right? We only hear about, oh, this is this euphoric thing that's going to be life-changing, affirming it's going to be this person's real authentic self, and it makes us all good people for affirming, these trans kids, because, we have to save them from themselves, from suicide. I don't know, I think just sharing stories of people who have gone through transition who were or maybe still identify as trans, but found, hey, there are some issues with this and there are other ways we can deal with this, whether that's recognizing there's maybe autism, maybe there's internalized homophobia, there's other kinds of traumas. I think just people being more aware that there's this other side of transition that isn't the rosy side of transition.
I just want to cry each video now. That's all I want to do, because it's just like that person's so right. All we see is the rosy side of transition, not the dark side. And then again, we add on that dynamic of just slapping the band-aid. Oh, just chop it off, it's fine. That's not going to solve the problem. There's so many things at play here that can prevent these lifelong things happening to innocent people. Again, back to the other analogy. You care so much about the pedos and minors, having SCX. Put that same energy towards people changing it. I feel like I'm the one going crazy sometimes, and I know I'm not, but it does make me so sad to hear these stories and know that actively there are youth camps pushing kids down this route.
Only telling someone yes and telling someone, yes, you're valid, and only affirming them and only saying yes is not an act of love. That's not what love is. Love is not giving in to every whim and only saying yes. Love is putting up those boundaries and saying no and having to keep someone safe even when they might be upset at you for it. Because only saying yes and only going down one path and only affirming isn't love, it's enabling. And I feel like that's just something that parents need to understand with this.
Saying yes, affirming this to your children, and really and saying yes, 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 yes. That's not love. That's not being a parent. That's not guiding them. That's allowing your child to make decisions that they're probably going to regret, as a lot of these people that we've gone through in this video do. Even when I did that pride video in Nashville interviewing people who had trans children, there was a lot of parents that are like, yeah, we're going to wait till 18 to medically transition, which is good. But there were some other parents that I met that, oh yeah, it's totally fine if the kid's transitioning, you know, at 8, 10. Like, that's not a parent. All these, that youth camp is on my, that's crazy. Those aren't parents. You're friends, you're enablers. That's not love. And like that person said, that's just something that these people do not understand. And they're so blindsided. Oh, you're transphobic. Oh, you don't believe in trans youth. You're wrong. You're a bigot. This is that. They're so quick to label people without taking a second to sit back and think and really process what the person's saying. Processing, I have nothing wrong with trans adults, but you got these little kids making these decisions, and then you have some of them growing up regretting it, and they can never go back. Your child will be okay until they're 18. They'll be fine, G. And who knows, maybe they might switch it up. Maybe they're like, actually, I'm just a little more of a boyish girl. It's okay. But going back to that other video, just because your little boy likes pink and sparkles, now you want to get rid of the twig and berries. It's like, man, what are you doing? I really hope this video has shown someone or enlightened someone on the truth of the matter when it comes to transitioning. Transitioning is not all beautiful and sweet and accepting and love. No, there are some dark sides to it. And knowing that there are these many dark sides to it, knowing that there are this many people who are detransitioning, knowing that there's many people who transition as kids who regret it, knowing that people are suing, maybe we should take a step back from pushing this on children. Just a thought. Because if we're saying a child can't consent to do what they want with their body regarding their sexual body parts, then why are we saying they can remove it? It doesn't make sense to me. It's all wrong. Again, like I've said throughout this video, I have nothing wrong with trans people. I have trans friends. I respect them. Pronouns, whatever. I don't care. You're an adult. But when it comes to these kids, we need to leave them alone. So thank you for powering through. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate your support a ton. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And in future videos, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to dive into the whole trans camps. I can't believe that's a thing. We're going to make a video on the trans camps because that blew my mind. We're going to dive more into that, so be sure to subscribe for that video because I will be highlighting that issue. Major shout out and love to my Patreon supporters. I'm so thankful for you guys. You guys, we love hanging out. You guys get the content early. Y'all are fam. Y'all legit. Y'all was good. I appreciate you a ton. The podcast has launched too. There's a private podcast for just patrons only that is called The Moment with Amir Odom. And it's about the moment that your life changed. It's the moment that you really became a better person. The moment you woke up politically. The moment you came to realize your sexuality. It's about the different moments in your life that made you the person you are today, and it's exclusively for Patreon members only. I'm interviewing all the members. My sign up thing is there. People are joining and scheduling time, and it's already a great time. But yeah, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you a ton, and I will see you in the next video. Deuces.